somebody with the same name to win who's not the same man?
I don't know, Arno. Why don't you tell me?
I know, I'm busy looking at it. And so far, I can't actually find anybody. So this might be a very true statistic. The closest at the moment is Charlie Doll and Charles Mateus, which are both like Charlie, Charles. That's close to each other. But
yeah, it will actually be interesting. I didn't look at the men's race of that. It's been a lot longer. So
Dave Bagshaw won in 1970 and 71, and Dave Levick won in 1973.
So you see, it will only be Anne making history today. Although, if we do look back at women's finishes, the first woman to run the Comrades was actually in the third running in 1923. And she completed the entire distance in, I think it was 11 hours and 35 minutes. And her name was Frances Hayward. And then you'll remember in 1992, we had Frances van Black. Correct me if I'm wrong with the year there. I think it was 1992. We had Frances van Black who went and won the race. So if we look at the unofficial women's results, then we have had that repeat of name.
Well, we've still got those three men together through the Pinetown area. And at the moment, it looks like a nice little Sunday jog for the three of them. But I can guarantee you they're going quite fast. At this stage, they have dropped Marco Mambo. You can see there on the leaderboard, he's now 22 seconds behind Joseph Mputi as well. And remember, they were going together down Fields Hill, and so those gaps are opening up fairly rapidly between the top three and the rest of the field here through Pinetown. Well, Marco Mambo in picture on the left there, still trying to hang on. Joseph Mputi a bit further behind him. And they are, of course, now chasing the three men on the right. And I don't know if chasing is the right word anymore, because I think basically the top three are running away from Marco Mambo. And you see there Marco Mambo just passing the sign saying 21 kilometers to go. So less than a half marathon left for these men.
Which in retrospect doesn't sound like a lot when you are running 90 kilometers. It's less than a half marathon, but in reality, half marathon is still quite a distance to go. And I mean, to just like a recreational runner to run a half marathon is a massive achievement in its own, and they've still got about a half marathon to run. So still a lot of running to go, still a lot that can happen, but these three in the front are looking so strong. Like, I can't see anything going wrong there.
At the moment, I'm just wondering where the break's going to happen. One of them, or well, at least one of them, is going to have to take a break from the rest at some stage, and maybe up Cowies. Maybe, I mean, if you look at what Mbomusa Mtembu did last year, he did a break up Polly Shorts, and maybe he'll do that up Cowies. But we're going to take a break ourselves at the moment, and we'll be back with the Comrades Marathon just after this.
1972, another year where Britain proved its comrades' greatness when Mick Horton set up a new uprun record of 5:48.
numbers, and I think also the rest of KZN is just celebrating because I mean, Bongo Musa has worked very hard. What a humble man, totally disciplined as well as talented as well, and you know, he really deserves it. You know, KZN is certainly proud of him, and as I said earlier on, once he crosses the finish line, he'll be a happy man.
Well, certainly the support Bongo Musa Mthembu enjoys is immense, not just from his family, but I think from the entire South Africa. And if he does manage to win this race today, he'll be the first man since Stephen Muzingi in 2011 to win the race back-to-back, and the first South African since Bruce Fordyce to do so. So certainly Bongo Musa Mthembu making a lot of history as he continues his journey and his love affair with this Comrades Marathon.
And it really couldn't go to a better champion. He is so humble, such a nice guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times, and he just really is a wonderful person, as evidenced by the support that he's getting from the whole of South Africa backing him.
Well, we're going to go down to join the Mthembu family. Our very own Udo Carlse is down there, and Udo, it looks like a great festive atmosphere where you are.
Absolutely, Arno. You know, you will remember last year at the finish line, Sisanda, the son of Bongo Musa, was sitting on the sidelines, and eventually we dragged him over the fence with his dad to celebrate the victory. Now, since early this morning, you've been talking about them. We've been reflecting on the T-shirts and the posters. But I'm here with Thandazile, of course, the sister of Bongo Musa Mthembu. My darling, speak to South Africa at home there. How many of the family members have come out here today?
Hey, my name is Thandazile. Sijabule namhlanje sibaningi siphuma ekhaya eBhulwa. Igama lami nguThandazile. Siyajabula nje umfowethu njengoba ebalida. Siyabona khona ubhuti bakhe abadala nosisi bakhe. Siyajabula nje, siyajabula.
It is a beautiful thing. Now we wait for Bongo Musa Mthembu to come through and hopefully win back-to-back Comrades Marathons up and down and make some history. We'll leave it to the crowd.
Well, lots of fun and celebrations down here in the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Of course, the crowd, including the Mthembu family, can see exactly what you are seeing at home. Big screen up here, and they see themselves on the screen. They see Mthembu, Bongo Musa there on the screen as he heads into the final stretches of this Comrades Marathon. Of course, the race a little bit longer than he would be used to, about 1 kilometer longer than the last down run, 90.124 kilometers this time around, but not the longest ever. And it's one of those anomalies, Caroline, where everything changes every year with the Comrades. The race changes, the distance changes, the finishing changes, the route changes slightly, and it's a bit of a different route heading into the Moses Mabhida Stadium. He'll still be familiar with this part, but then they will run past the original finish and into Moses Mabhida in the distance.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we've been saying that the distance does change every single year, but when you are coming into Durban and you have been racing and you are sore and you are tired and you have to run past the previous finish to get to the new one, I'm pretty sure that psychologically that needs to do something. But you know what, like, he's going to hold on and he's going to come in here, and we are going to be so excited to see him a champion again. So I'm not actually sure, I missed what the distance is between him and second place. Did you see that, Cindy? But I think that he's managed to build up enough of a lead now that he can secure first place.
Well, he is now in that region just after Tollgate, getting into the Moses Mabhida Stadium. He's going to follow the N3 under the Tollgate Bridge, take the new flyover into David Webster Street, which becomes Bram Fisher Road, and then from there turn left into Samora Machel Road, past the old finish venue at Kingsmead Cricket Stadium, as we've mentioned, and then on until that road becomes Masabalala Yengwa Avenue.
That's the road that all of the runners will want to see. Masabalala Yengwa Road. Once you see that road, you know you are home safe.
And you will also see the Moses Mabhida Stadium coming into full view, and I think that must be quite attractive for these runners. And they go past the northbound lane at Battery Beach Road, and then into the Moses Mabhida Stadium, and where they'll get a lot of support from the people here at the finish, and also lining the route into the new Comrades Marathon finish.
And I must say, there really is something special about the design of the stadium. As I mentioned early this morning, yesterday we drove down the road that the runners would take towards the stadium, and when you see how magnificent it is, it just kind of draws you towards it. So I'm sure that once Bonga Musa gets a view of the stadium, it's just going to give him the energy that he needs for those final stretches to take him to the finish.
Definitely, but I think, you know, throughout this race, especially towards Durban, he's been getting incredible support, but certainly when he gets closer to the stadium, it just is he is going to get emotional because you know, there's so much support. Also finishing at Moses Mabhida Stadium, it's something that every runner has been looking forward to.
Well, the Bonitas medical team have mentioned have worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. Have worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. Have worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. Have worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used around. I've worked out that for every kilometer you run, around 66 joints, 55 bones, and more than 1,000 ligaments, muscles, and tendons go into action and are used. And Edward Motibi down that hill, the three of them running very comfortably downfield, leaving Marco Mambo and Joseph Mputi behind. And then through Pinetown they shared a few jokes and a few drinks, and up Kawi's hill, Bongmusa Mthembu making his move and getting away from Edward Motibi and defending downrun champion David Khatebe. And since then it's all been Bongmusa Mthembu. He looked a bit uncomfortable at one stage but kept that stride going and opening the gap over Edward Motibi, who is currently in second and got away from Khatebe as well. And it is just Bongmusa Mthembu now striding away, getting closer and closer to the finish with more than enough of a gap over Edward Motibi that Motibi has no chance of catching the defending champion.
And what emotions arise as you watch this man who has the whole of South Africa behind him, who's had them backing him, hoping that he is going to take it, just coming towards the finish, looking so strong and so composed. And it's just, I mean, there's goosebumps.
Goosebumps indeed. Earlier on we had the view of the city as well as the ocean. What a beautiful place to finish the race, especially Moses Mabhida Stadium. It's such a lovely stadium, and knowing that his family is out here waiting for him, I think if he has any idea, he is really going to be excited to know that.
Well, the Comrades has been described as 2 marathons and a park run, back to back, and Bongamusa Mthembu now very clearly into the park run. So that is all that's left for the defending champion. He has won this race in 2014. He won it in 2017 last year, doing the down run in 2014, the up run last year. And here he's coming in for his 3rd win, his 2nd down run win, and the first back-to-back win for a South African since the days of Bruce Fordyce.
What I really love to see is when you have spectators that are trying to keep up with a man who has run nearly 90 kilometers, and they are actually struggling to keep up with him, and that just goes to show how fast he has run, and for so long, to just draw to the caliber of this athlete that we are seeing here.
And if you compare it, Pindi, on the side, I mean, Bongamusa, you can see his legs are tired, right? He's run 86, 87 kilometers already, and yet he looks like he's still striding comfortably on those tired legs, and the men next to him on fresh legs look like they're sprinting.
Doesn't become like a bicycle though. He wants to get the bicycle going. It just goes on and on and on, and that's exactly what Bongamusa is demonstrating here. It's pure art, you know. A young man this talented, he's done it last year, and no doubt he is going to do it this year. He will be that first man to cross the finish line at Moses Mabhida Stadium.
Did you know that the first foreign runners entered the race in 1962? So quite a while ago. The Roadrunners Club of England sent over 4 of the United Kingdom's top long distance runners. One of the 4, John Smith, won the race in 1962, and that is brought to you by Bonitas. And of course, another man who is brought to you by Bonitas, Alec Riddle, Eye in the Sky. And Alec, final stretches here for Bongamusa Mthembu.
Pardon? Well, we have our champion-elect coming through Durban, and you can see he has got those sunshades on now. We can't see his eyes, but they are transfixed on that finish, the Moses Mabhida Stadium. And he is looking ever so determined. He looks like the champion. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. He ran so well, so controlled. He let the other guys do a lot of the work, and then he used his strength up Cowie's hill to put in a break, and he ran away from them. He devastated them with that surge. It was such a hard surge that even he felt it and faltered slightly. But he's back and running strong. When I say back, he's never been away, but there was certainly a patch where he was not looking as well as he was looking a few kilometers earlier, but he is back and running strong. He can only be dreaming of what's awaiting him at this amazing stadium. And you must just think of an athlete like this, the sacrifices he has made. You know, he left school, he left home to look for richer pickings, he became a bricklayer, he realized it wasn't working out, he decided to start running. His coach helped him, took him 8 years to win a Comrades title in 2014, and since then just another 4 years to win 3. And he must be thinking of the family, of the sacrifices, of so many things must be going through his mind at the moment. But the key to a champion is to try not to let them clatter you. I remember Desmond Zibby leading the Two Oceans way back when, in memory of his mother, and as he thought of his mother, all the energy sapped out of him, and he was caught in the shadow of the post and finished second. So it is important that Mthembu keeps focusing on the win, but he will certainly be looking to greet his family and to hear the cheers of this fantastic KwaZulu-Natal crowd. We've seen it's been amazing through the streets here of the city centre of Durban, but he is on his way now to the stadium, and we'll allow the commentators to bring him in for this last little stretch of road before he gets to take the finish line.
Well, that is the view of the Moses Mabhida Stadium here in Durban, built for the 2010 World Cup, of course, and since then hosting some top sporting events and concerts, etc. But it is the finish for this year's Comrades Marathon. We saw Bongmusa Mthembu turn left there, past the old finish, the Kingsmead Cricket Stadium, and he still had about 3 kilometers to go from there, and Caroline next to me was heaving a huge sigh like he would have finished now. But going into Moses Mabhida, a new experience for Bongmusa Mthembu, and I'm sure it's a great one for him at this stage.
So taking into account that they did shorten the rest of the route slightly to accommodate for the extra distance to get to Moses Mabhida Stadium, he would have actually broken the record if it had ended at Kingsmead now, because David's record last year was 5:18, and as we can see, we're not even yet there, and he's past Kingsmead.
Well, it is over 90 kilometers this time as he heads up to the Moses Mabhida Stadium. The crowd cheering on the local man. And there you can see the finish in view for Bongmusa Mthembu. As we have a brief break in picture there, we apologize for that. Getting it back for you as quickly as possible. And you can see there from our helicopter, the Moses Mabhida Stadium, crowd gathering inside, waiting to welcome Bongmusa Mthembu to the finish of the Comrades 2018. Well, we've just lost the picture from our bike at the moment, but we will continue to bring you the visuals of the Moses Mabhida Stadium Comrades 2018, and of course the leader, there he is, Bong Musa Mthembu, and surrounded by the various official vehicles, heading under the trees, trying to get a little bit of shade that he still can. Not too sunny here out in Durban at the moment. It is quite cloudy, some showers expected later, which I think a lot of the runners finishing later this afternoon might actually welcome a bit of respite from the heat and a cool rain, so they're hoping it might rain, but there's only about a 30% chance of that, as we see how close Bong Musa Mthembu is to the Moses Mabhida Stadium. And at the moment it's just about keeping those legs going. He's done all the hard work, and certainly he just wants to keep the pace, run comfortably, and then take the adulation of the crowd as he enters the stadium.
Any minute from now he will be entering the stadium, because if you look out there, he is actually almost at the stadium. And the part that you were talking about earlier on, Caroline, you know, if you drive on Masabalala Yengwa Road, you will see just that tunnel where they go through, and just hearing the cheers from the spectators, it's just going to be so spectacular.
I'm pretty sure that he can actually hear the cheers from the stadium at this point. He's getting that close, and I just am amazed at how strong he still looks. I mean, this man has run 90 kilometers and he is looking that good. He's smiling, you know. He actually saw the couple running on his right-hand side, and kind of acknowledged them with a smile as they were cheering him on. He is just a true champ. Yeah, and that is why South Africa loves him, because taking the time to still acknowledge people cheering him on the side, I mean, that is the man that Bong Musa is.
Laaste kilometer of so in die Comrades 2018 marathon, en Bong Musa Mthembu wat die wenner gaan wees hierdie jaar. Vir die tweede jaar in 'n ry, sy derde wen in Comrades, sy tweede wen op die afwedloop. Kan sien daar hy is reg buite die Moses Mabhida Stadion in Durban, en dit is Bong Musa Mthembu. Die wedloop goed begin, hy was heeltyd in die groep saam met David Gatebe, Gift Kelehe, Edward Motibi en Ludwig Mabolo, baie van die gunstelinge. Hy het op Fields Hill weggebreek saam met David Gatebe en so ook Edward Motibi, maar op Kaui's weggehardloop van Gatebe en Motibi, en van toe af net die voortou gehou, en het het al hoe groter en groter geword vir Bong Musa Mthembu. Daar is sy gesin, hulle gaan hom verwelkom in die stadion in. Bong Musa Mthembu se familie daar, en hulle kan hom sien op die groot skerm. Hulle weet hy is net buite die stadion, en hulle wag vir Mthembu om nou links te draai in die stadion in, en dan so wat 200 meter te hardloop hier op die gras en na die eindstreep toe. Dit is 'n bietjie minder as 200, so 150 meter op die gras na die eindstreep toe, en hier gaan hy in die stadion in, en die skare wat hom hier gaan verwelkom.
And I mean, from now we'll also get a clear view of him running into the stadium. Caroline, I know that this is the part where it really gets emotional. I mean, there he is receiving that flower as per tradition, and he knows that I am in, I am safe, I have made it, I have won Comrades Marathon 2018. And of course, taking the baton, which traditionally was the message from the mayor of Pietermaritzburg to the mayor of Durban. That's not done in the women's race, it's just done in the men's race, as the first person delivers that message. So he's got it in his hand there, yep, and he's feeling so much energy and strength in these final stages.
Well, he's entered the stadium after 90 kilometers of running. About 100 meters left to go for Bong Musa Mthembu, and the tiredness now fades away as he acknowledges the crowd, and he comes around the bend in the new finish for Comrades Marathon, the Moses Mabhida Stadium. and he smiles, he waves, and he's done this twice before. Third time, probably the best, the one he'll remember. Back-to-back victories for Bongumusa Mthembu, his second down run victory, and it is a personal best for him. 5 hours, 26 minutes, and about 35 seconds. And we'll get that official time for you.
And he kneels down. He did it again. This is the moment I was waiting for. Very spiritual young man. This is what he does. Thanking the Almighty for seeing him, for carrying him through, because he understands, he knows that it was not only his doing, but he was watching over him. Very, very spiritual young man. He's done it again. Bongumusa Mthembu, the winner of Comrades Marathon 2018.
Well, it was 2014, 2017, and now 2018 for Bongumusa Mthembu. It's a tired man on the ground there, but a very, very happy one. And he literally inherits this mantle from Bruce Fordyce, only South African to win it multiple times since the 80s, and the first man since Stephen Muzingi to win twice in a row.
These past 2 weeks, you will never forget. I'm so proud of you, man.
Oh, what a special moment. I mean, like, I'm nearly in tears here sitting in the studio. It's so emotional, and it's so wonderful to see, and I think that we could not have asked for a better champion today, and South Africa is just so proud and so excited to have Bongumusa back as our champion.
Well, certainly, and he has shown that although the Comrades is still tough, he can handle this race, and he knows exactly how to run it, how to win it, and hopefully we look forward to maybe a few more wins from Bongumusa Mthembu in years to come. And you can see the joy on the face of the family as they welcome him into the stadium. Congratulated by the Mayor as well, and Cheryl Wynn, the Comrades chairperson, and various other dignitaries there as he is being introduced to all of them.
Minister of Sports there. I mean, it's really a wonderful moment for him. It's a wonderful moment for his family who are here at the stadium, and it looks like he's brought the entire family. They decided that this year we are not going to miss it. We are going to be a part of this experience, because here's a young man who's done very well for himself, for his family, for the province, for South Africa at large.
Alex Kosana, President of Athletics South Africa, also congratulating man, of course, Kosana also from KwaZulu-Natal.
Asila Mokoena, the President of KZN Athletics.
And so Mokoena and Kosana, I guess, very happy as the local boy does it again.
Okay.
Mercy, do you remember how heavy your suit is? I won't let you go. Because you remember how
They're receiving accolades from the crowd as well. For him. As we wait for second place, Edward Mutibi, and you can now see the size of the gap that Bongumusa Mthembu has built up since being together at Fields Hill. And he has been running through Pinetown, and in the last, we talked about it, the last half marathon, he's opened up a sizable gap over second and third place, and just showing his strength coming through at the end here. Well, we're now trying to find Edward Mutibi, second place runner, as he approaches Moses Mabhida. And that is Joseph Mputi on the road. And did we have a shake-up here? Is it Joseph Mputi in second place? Mputi in his 5th Comrades Marathon, coming through here towards the Moses Mabhida Stadium. And it looks like there might be a bit of an upset here. Joseph Mputi, we're now looking at the third place runner. Third place man, Steve Way from Great Britain.
Steve Way from, yeah.
There's really been a shake-up here. He was 9th last year, Stephen Way. And it would be amazing if he comes through to a podium finish. And is that Edward Motipi behind him? It could possibly be.
This is very interesting, you know. Steve Way, here's a man who based in the UK, and he says where he lives there are no hills, and what he has in his pantry is the treadmill, and it has hills, so he can adjust it, make in such a way that he can climb hills, closes all doors for temperature purposes, and then the temperature rises up to 40 degrees, and then he pictures himself in Durban taking on the up run or the down runs. So this is how he has been training, on a treadmill, and he came 9th last year at Comrades Marathon. And interesting enough, as we said earlier on, we've been saying it over and over again this morning, that this is Comrades Marathon. Anything can happen. Now chances are he might just make podium.
That is such an interesting story, and I think that anybody who has the dedication to run on a treadmill incline because they don't have heels where they live and they want to tackle the Comrades Marathon deserves a podium position. So, gee, well done, Stephen.
Well, as we wait for Joseph Mputi to come in to the finish here, can also report from the road that Gerda Steyn is in 2nd place in the women's race behind Anne Ashworth. She's passed Alexandra Morozova, and Anne Ashworth still looking very good out on the road, as does Gerda Steyn. And you can see there Mputi and Way very, very close together here. What on earth happened to Edward Motibi? He was entering into Durban comfortably in 2nd position at that stage, behind Bongmusa Mthembu, and it must have gone horribly wrong for him to not be in the top 3 even for Edward Motibi. And the other man, David Khatebe, the top 3, Bongmusa Mthembu, Edward Motibi and David Khatebe, were comfortably in the lead coming down Fields Hill and through Pinetown, and it's all changed.
But that just shows you the nature of the Comrades, and I think especially on the down run, I mean, you go out there and you're risking it, pushing your body to the extreme, and anything can happen in those final stages. And I mean, Bongmusa hold it together like the true champion that he is, but we see many contenders just falling off at the end.
Well, to give you some idea, this man, Joseph Mputi, was over a minute behind Edward Motibi with 9 kilometers to go. And Steve Way was a further minute and a half behind Mputi. So things, like Caroline said, can go seriously wrong in this race. And that is the hammering your legs take on all these downhills. And then suddenly you experience cramps or can't actually just handle that pace anymore. And it's Joseph Mputi in his 5th Comrades Marathon coming through to take the 2nd place.
What I think is so remarkable, actually looking at 2nd place now, is the gap that Bongmusa put into the field. Because, I mean, they were all together in Pinetown, and suddenly, 10 minutes, he put a 10-minute gap on them, which is remarkable.
It's absolutely amazing. And over that last distance, like we said, it's about a half marathon. He opened up, as you say, about 10 minutes over the rest. And it is Joseph Mputi who falls across the line. And again, a happy man, and this man as well will be ecstatic. You can see it there.
He is ecstatic.
9th place finish last year.
And
he makes it onto the podium.
I think he's just one man who goes to prove that, you know, once, yes, physically you have got to be fit, but mentally you also have to be strong. He's worked very hard. His mind was on this one. He really was focused. And moving from 9th position for Steve Way, who is now today crossed the finish line at 3rd position. He is the 3rd man, so he makes podium this year.
Certainly, and you'll be very, very happy with that. And the debutant who ran so well, Edward Motibi, is going to come into 4th place. And heartbreak for him at the same time as elation, because on your first Comrades to finish 4th is nothing short of marvelous, and yet he was in 2nd.
Yeah, you know, I think for his first comrades, he is going to be very, very happy with his result today. And as you said earlier, you know, being persuaded to come and do this race by David and having this kind of a result at the end, it's phenomenal.
Definitely, and I know you're quite right. Coming forth for the first comrades is something special, and I'm sure that he will walk away with some lessons, go back to the